everyone, Trace here. Welcome to the first May Made It World Card Making Day event. Both our blog and Instagram design teams are participating today. That's 13 talented folks to visit today. A sentiment has been randomly chosen for each of us, and I got a wedding card. After you watch my video, follow the link in the description box and that'll bring you to a blog post. In that blog post, you will find where you have to go next. Please hit the subscribe button for all of the members so you won't miss any projects. And as a bonus, there is a giveaway. Details in the box below. Now onto the wedding card. So here is my wedding card for the World Card Making Day event, and it is so pretty. I'm really proud of how it turned out, and there's a couple of techniques here that I will show you. The main one is the mirror image stamping. So my stamp only has a dove going in one direction, but I will show you how to do the mirror image to make them face inward. And there's some embossing, and I even have some Wink Stella, which you can kind of see the little shine there, and the inside message is so beautiful. So here are some things that you're going to need to make that. So you'll need a card base, which is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and I used 110-pound cardstock. I really wanted it nice and sturdy. And then the gray mat that goes on the top, that is a 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. So it's a little bit of a challenge for the measurement. And the white mat is 4 by 5 1/4. So here are the stamp sets that I've used for this card. This is Letterboard Love, and the lowercase letters that I used. And this is Alpha Bold, so it's the uppercase letters. So this is the All in Love stamp set, and I used this stamp here for the inside of the card. And this stamp set, which is Feathers, and this is the dove that I talked about, how it's just going in the one direction. So I am going to show you how to do that. So this is the stamp set that you will need for the mirror image, and this is by Paper Smooches, and it's just a solid stamp in several different shapes and sizes, and this really comes in handy if you want to do the mirror image stamping. And also on the card I have some embossing, and this is, let me show you that. There's 2 different embossing folders here. For my next card, I'm going to do just the one. I have the 2 different versions on each side, but I decided just to do one for both sides. This embossing folder set comes with these 3, and they're really gorgeous, and they're small size, so you can emboss any part of a page that you want to. But I'm only going to use one, so I decided to go ahead and use this one here. And like I said, I'm just going to use one for both sides. And also use some Wink of Stella and some Cutter Bee scissors and some art glitter glue, some Tombow markers with the blender pen, and a Recollections fine tip pen. And I use this a lot for when something just doesn't stamp perfectly, so I go over it with this pen, and you can see it is super fine, and I really love this. It comes in a set of all different colors, and this black one I use very often. So that's almost all you need. Also, I'll be using a mini Misty. This is very helpful. And also 3D foam squares. So first up, I'm going to do the embossing, and it's really simple because I have just this one, and I'm going to position it approximately here, run it through my Big Shot, and then do the exact same thing on the other side of the card front here. I have my card front in the MISTI, and I've got my letters spelling out Mr. and the and sign, and of course the Mrs. I have to wait because I'm going to use the M and the R. So I am just going to pick up those onto the MISTI door, and I'm going to stamp down, and I'm going to use the Distress Ink Hickory Smoke. I'm staying with the gray colors. I think that's a really good wedding color and a little sleek and classic. So I am going to use this. And because it's a distress ink, I will have to stamp over and over again to get it a nice solid image because it's a little blotchy, and that's the nature of the ink. So I'm going to go ahead and ink that up. And then I'm going to move the letters for the Mrs. and I will stamp that down until I am satisfied with the stamped image. So I've changed to the Mrs. and I'm just inking that up. I do want to show you just how blotchy it is the very first time with this ink. And that's the reason why you want to stamp several times, because it is a bit blotchy at first. So go ahead and stamp several times till you have it nice and solid image. Next, I'm going to stamp the inside sentiment, and I'm going to use some VersaFine ink and the Fiskars press here. And it is a very large, long stamp, and I definitely want to make sure it's well inked, especially in the center. So just ink that up really, really well. And go ahead and press down when you are confident it is centered and where you want it. About right there. Press down really well. And I'm also going to add a little wink of Stella in this little heart on this stamp. I think that'll look really nice. And pretty good stamp there. So that inside is ready to go. So now is the really fun part of making the mirror image. So you'll need your MISTI, and go ahead and take out the pad from there. And this is the stamp set with the solid images here. So I am going to take off this protection part here, and I'm going to use it on this side. I'm also going to use this stamp here just because it's the size that I need. The image that I have is really small, so I don't need a really big one. So here is the dove image. So I'm going to make sure that this fits in the space of the square here. So I've got my stamp on this side and the mirror image stamp on the window here, just making sure it lines up there. So this sticks down to the acetate part here, and it just does, it fits there nicely. So all I'm doing is taking some ink, and I'm going to ink up, and I can do it several times if I need to. I know I got some ink here, and that's fine. So I'm going to ink it up on here and press it down on this clear block, transferring that ink from here to there. You can see the image right in there. I'm going to do it a second time just to make sure that there's nice and ink filled up onto there. So go ahead and press that down. And you don't have to press too hard. You can just make sure you have the ink transferred. So you can see the image here. Now go ahead and move the acetate and replace the foam here. And I'm just using another scrap piece here because I am going to be cutting out my images so I can just place it anywhere on a paper. And then just press down here. And there's my image. And what I'm going to do is go over it a little bit where it hasn't quite stamped. And that's fine because I at least have my image going in the other direction. And that's what I really wanted to do. So next, all I have to do is take this off. I am using some Brutus Monroe Squeaky Clean onto a little baby wipe, and I'm just going to clean these stamps. And it works really well getting that ink nice and off of these stamps. I love that squeaky clean. So next I'm just going to add the image directly as it is. So I'm going to pick another spot in my paper here and sticking my image onto, there we go. So now I'm just going to ink up my image like normal on the MISTI and close down the door. And you can see that the image is just going in the other direction here. I'll go ahead and ink one more time. And so here's the two images going in opposite directions. And I can clean that off with my baby wipe here. All nice and clean. So there's my two images. Now I'm going to go ahead and color it. And I'm going to make that a little bit darker so it looks like it is stamped directly. So I'm going to be using some Tombow markers and the blender pen. So as you can see, just by outlining with this pen, it made it look like a solid image, like it's a separate stamp, when in fact it was just a mirror image. So very simply, I just want to show you how I went ahead and did my coloring here. I just added a little bit of color on the wings, just the smallest amount right there, and then with the blender pen just brought in that color. Next I just fussy cut those, and when I was cutting I just cut around the edges, I'm giving it a slight border, just a very slight border around the entire image. So just go ahead and cut that. So now all we need to do is put this card together. So there you have it, a wedding card that a bride and groom will absolutely love. And it was really fun and not too difficult to make. sure to mail out a card to someone special today. Also, don't forget to share your awesome cards on our customer gallery. And don't forget to subscribe to everyone's channels. Have fun. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.